You're standing in the drywall aisle, staring at two stacks that look identical. One says sheetrock, one just says drywall. There's a $4 gap between them, and a salesman who wants you to believe it matters. Here's the uncomfortable truth. In drywall, the name on the front of the board is the least important thing about it. The lie is always on the front. The truth is stamped on the back. I've spent 28 years inspecting and renovating homes, and I've torn out more bad drywall than I can count. Almost none of it failed because of the brand. It failed because somebody bought the wrong board for the room and never flipped it over to read the back. So this is 10 kinds of drywall only dumb people buy. Not dumb people. People who trusted the front of the board. And number one isn't a bad brand at all. It's the board that quietly corroded the wiring inside 100,000 American homes, and it's still sitting behind the walls of some of them today. Start with the most expensive word in the aisle. Number 10. The board you bought because it said sheetrock. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Sheetrock isn't a type of drywall. It's a brand name. It's one company's word for the same gypsum board everybody else makes. Calling drywall sheetrock is like calling every tissue a Kleenex. USG makes good board. So does National Gypsum. So does Georgia Pacific. Among the major brands, the stuff is nearly identical. Score it, snap it, hang it, and you will not feel the difference. So when you pay a premium for the name on the front, you're not buying better board. You're buying a word. The dumb money in this aisle pays $4 a sheet to feel safe. That's not the mistake that floods your bathroom or burns down your garage. It's the small one, the mindset one. Because once you believe the brand is the product, every other mistake on this list gets easy to sell you. Number 9 is where the brand stops mattering and the spec starts. Number 9, half-inch board on your ceiling. Walls forgive a lot, ceilings don't. Gravity works on a ceiling 24 hours a day. Standard half-inch drywall, run across joists spaced 2 feet apart, starts to sag between them. You get that slow wave in the ceiling, the one you only notice when the afternoon light rakes across it. By then, it's screwed up there for good. The fix costs almost nothing at the register. You buy 5/8 board for the ceiling or half-inch that's stamped sag-resistant. $1 or $2 more a sheet. Read the back. It tells you exactly what the board can span. Buy the cheap half-inch because it's lighter and it's right there, and you've bought yourself a wavy ceiling and a redo. Number 8 feels even cheaper. That's the trap. Number 8. The cheapest lightweight board you can find. Lightweight drywall sells itself on one thing: your back. It's a third lighter, and hanging it is easier. Fair enough. But ask the people who hang board for a living. The complaint is everywhere. Screws pull right through the soft face. Screw pops show up weeks later as the board dries out and shrinks back off the fastener. Some sheets come with air cavities baked in, hollow spots an inch wide you don't find until you hit one. On a closet wall, fine. In a hallway your family drags furniture down for 30 years, you've bought a wall that dents if you look at it and pops nails on its own schedule. Light is a feature for the installer. It is not a feature for the wall. Number 7 is the one that grows something. Number 7. Standard paper face board anywhere near water. Here's something most homeowners never learn. Mold doesn't eat gypsum. It eats paper. And standard drywall is wrapped front and back in paper. A food source, pressed flat and waiting. Put that board in a bathroom, a laundry, a basement that breathes moisture, and you've set the table. The gypsum is fine. The paper grows black behind the paint where you can't see it until the smell finds you. This is the easiest mistake on the list to avoid, and the most common one I find. There's mold-resistant board made for exactly these rooms. Treated core, treated facing. It costs a little more, and it doesn't feed anything. You wouldn't carpet a shower. Don't paper wrap your bathroom and call it done. Number 6 thought it solved this. It didn't. Number 6, green board behind your shower tile. Green board is water-resistant drywall, and people treat that like a magic word. Resistant is not proof. Green board handles humidity and the occasional splash. It does not handle a shower. Behind tile, water gets through. Grout cracks, caulk fails, and the wall gets wet and stays wet. Green board in that spot turns to oatmeal behind beautiful tile, and the first you know of it is a loose tile or a soft spot 2 years in. Then it's a demo, not a repair. What goes behind tile in a wet area isn't drywall at all. It's cement board or a foam board built for it. Different product, different aisle. Resistant sold the board. Waterproof is what the job needed. Number 5 isn't about water, it's about fire. Number 5, standard board on a wall, the code says must be fire rated. This one isn't about comfort or looks. It's about the few minutes your family needs to get out. The wall between an attached garage and the house. The furnace room. The wall you share with the neighbors in a townhouse. Code calls for fire rated board there because that wall is supposed to hold a fire back long enough to matter. Standard 1/2 inch doesn't do that job. Fire rated board, type X, is denser, usually 5/8, built to buy time. The premium is $2 to $5 a sheet. $2 to $5 against the one wall in your house whose only job is to slow a fire down. Skip it to save a few bucks on the garage wall, and you didn't save money. You uninsured your family. Number 4 bought the right board and still got it wrong. Number 4, type X board and the belief that it made your wall fireproof. This is the subtle one, and it catches smart people. You bought the right board. Type X, stamped and certified. So the wall's rated, right? Not by itself. A fire rating doesn't belong to a board. It belongs to a whole assembly. The board, the thickness, the number of layers, the screws, the spacing, how the gaps and the outlets get sealed. Change one piece and the rating you paid for walks out the door, even with the right board on the wall. So the homeowner who bought type X and let the installer cut corners on everything else has a certified board in an uncertified wall. The stamp on the front is true. The wall behind it is a lie. The board is never the whole story. Number 3 knows that and sells it to you anyway. Number 3, whatever board the contractor swapped in when you weren't looking. Here's where the money gets quiet. You spec the good board, mold resistant in the bathrooms, type X on the garage wall, 5/8 on the ceilings. Then the truck shows up with pallets of plain 1/2 inch because plain 1/2 inch is cheaper by the sheet and nobody flips a hung wall over to check. That gap between the good board you paid for and the cheap board that went up is pure margin. It goes straight into somebody's pocket and you cover it twice. Once on the invoice, again when the wrong board fails in the wrong room. The honest installers I work with hate this more than you do. It makes their whole trade look like a racket. So protect them and yourself. Get the board types in writing and walk the job before the tape goes on. After it's painted, the back of the board is gone forever. Number 2 is the board you bought online to save a few $100s. Number 2, the no-name imported board nobody can vouch for. After every big storm, the same thing happens. A region needs more drywall than the country can make. Fast and cheap imported board floods back in. Online liquidation lots. Pallets with labels you can't read. A deal too good to ask questions about. We have been here before, and number 1 is about to show you exactly how badly it can go. The lesson from last time was simple. When demand outruns supply, the corners get cut where you can't see them. In the board that goes inside your walls and stays there for decades. If you can't tell where a sheet of drywall was made and who stands behind it, that price isn't a deal. It's a question mark you're sealing into your house. Read the back. If the back can't tell you the maker and the origin, put it down. Which brings us to number 1, the board that taught the whole country this lesson the hard way. Number 1, the Chinese drywall that poisoned 100,000 homes. Between 2004 and 2008, the housing boom and a run of brutal hurricanes drained the country's drywall supply. So builders bought imported board by the shipload. Most of it came from China. Brands like Knauf Plasterboard, Tianjin, and Taishan Gypsum. Then the homes started rotting from the inside. The board gave off hydrogen sulfide gas. Not enough to drop you, just enough every day for years. It turned copper black. It corroded the wiring in the walls and the coils in the air conditioners. Families reported headaches, nosebleeds, and that rotten egg smell that never left. The federal government confirmed it in 2009. The lawsuits became one of the biggest construction cases in American history. Tyshawn alone settled for $248 million. I walked one of these houses, Cape Coral, Florida, 2010. A stucco place a young couple named Reyes had bought new 3 years earlier. The husband kept a binder of AC repair receipts. 3 new coil units in 3 years, and nobody could tell him why. I pulled a switch plate, and the copper behind it was the color of a spent match. Their newborn's nursery shared a wall with the worst of it. The quote to gut that house back to the studs and start over came to $51,200. They still owed the mortgage on a home they couldn't safely sleep in. Here's the part that should land. That board is still in homes. It was never all found. It doesn't announce itself. It hides behind paint and waits. And the only way to know is to do the one thing this whole list has been about. Pull a plate. Look behind it. Read the back of the wall. So here's what the smart money does, room by room. None of it costs more than a few dollars a sheet. All of it is on the back of the board. Start dry and simple. Bedrooms, living room, hallways. Standard board is fine, but go 5/8 on the ceilings so they never sag. Move to water. Any wall that meets a bathroom, a laundry, a kitchen sink, mold-resistant board. The paperless, fiberglass-faced kind is the gold standard because there's nothing for the mold to eat. Behind shower tile, stop using drywall at all. Cement board or a foam shower board, full stop. Then fire. The garage wall, the furnace room, any shared wall, type X and make the installer follow the whole assembly, not just the board. Get it in writing. And before any of it, flip the board over. The back tells you the type, the fire rating, the thickness, and where it was made. If the board in an older home worries you or you ever smell sulfur, that is not a do-it-yourself job. That's a licensed inspector and an electrician, not a Saturday with a pry bar. One sentence is the whole video. Buy the board for the room, not the name on the front. If you want the next audit before you're standing in the aisle, subscribe. The insulation one goes up next, because here's what changed in the last few minutes. You're not the homeowner who buys the word on the front anymore. You're not the one who pays $4 for a brand and skips $2 on the wall that stops a fire. You're the one who flips the board over, reads the type, the rating, and the origin, and asks what room it's going in. The dumb money buys the name. You stopped buying names. You read the back of the board, and that's the whole game. Now go pull one switch plate in your own house and look at the copper. You'll know in 30 seconds whether they built you a home or just painted over the question.